Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of CTS BizTalk. Great introduction. Blazej Sadowski is with us today. He is one of our senior engineers on the team. He's been with us a few years. I'll let him talk more about that. And he is gonna be leading up our new cybersecurity group. And so we've been having a lot of fun the last couple of months. We've been focusing on cybersecurity for quite some time, but now it's actually becoming part of a separate group. So Blazej, say hello, introduce yourself, say hello to the fans out there.
Yeah, like Frank said, thank you, Frank, for having me. Like he said, I'm Blazej Sadowski. I've been with the team for about 5 years. I started as a level 1 engineer, and here I am helping lead our cybersecurity team now. So quite a big step up, which I'm really proud of. A little bit about myself. New dad, 1-year-old, and actually another one on the way. So it's gonna be a full house, a busy person. But I mean, other than that, I'm just a huge sports fanatic and love anything sports and tech. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. So today we are talking about cybersecurity frameworks. What is a framework, what we're doing at CTS, and what we're doing for our clients. So as most of you guys know, and we've been pushing cybersecurity for a few years. The bad guys are getting smarter. I think we talked in a previous BizTalk about how there's now ransomware as a service, where there's people out there that a group of bad dudes could pay to infiltrate companies. And so it is an extremely lucrative business for these guys. And it's people like us that are protecting small and mid-sized businesses and enterprise businesses throughout the world so that they're not breached, so the data doesn't get out there, and more importantly, that they stay in, that they don't go out of business. So there's tons of things out there. Blazej and I are, as we mentioned, we're really stepping things up. About 2 months ago, he and I headed out to Kansas City. We did not meet Patrick Mahomes. I did have some ideas that I wanted to pass through him and Andy Reid, but we didn't see him. But we were there for a huge cybersecurity conference, and we learned a lot. There's always stuff that we're always learning, continuous improvement, and what have you. So why don't you talk about what we learned at that conference, the cool stuff, and what we're making a difference in our organization for our clients?
Yeah, so I mean, overall, the conference was a great experience, really eye-opening for I guess a company like us trying to get into like a set up a framework for ourselves and for our clients. So overall, I mean, just awesome way to kind of learn on how to get everything up and running, just lay the groundwork for just for the framework. They had some really cool demonstrations on how to implement some new tools out there in order to keep a company's information safe, just keep end users safe. One really cool piece of demonstration that stuck out to me was one of the guys there. We actually partnered with Blazej. One of the guys there, he used a phishing attempt to grab someone's password, and it only took him about 15 seconds, which was mind-blowing.
It was pretty cool, yeah.
It was really cool. It took him 50 seconds to get the password, and then that password, depending on how each company is set up, it could last him 30 days, 90 days. So he has 90-day access to every single piece of information in that company, which is scary. You know what I mean? We're in that type of world now where everything is just going to the cloud, and we have to start protecting all that information.
Yeah.
Bad guys are always going to be out there. They're always going to be 2 steps ahead of everything. But it's our job to kind of go toe to toe with them, which is it's pretty.
So we skipped over a piece. What, in your opinion, is a framework?
A framework. Okay, so a framework would be kind of a skeleton of how to implement a piece of security, or how to secure your entire business. So it gives you so the framework that we're kind of pushing towards is called CIS. So it'll tell you go down the list. It'll tell you how everything is how everything should be implemented. What are the right safeguards to put in place? What are the right tools? And you just have to follow this guide, implement it how you feel best works for your company. So it's basically just a guideline of how things should be done.
Okay. So it's a guideline of asking for organizations to ask the questions of what they should be doing and how they should be doing it, essentially.
Right.
So how many frameworks are out there?
There's tons. There's lots of these frameworks. Really depending on what your company's needs are. There's ones, like I said, the CIS that we're going to is just a control of your network and just to lock down your network. There's ones that are compliance, like HIPPA or what else was there?
PCI for credit card.
For credit cards, and there's SOC 2 for CPAs, and so it's just there's just so many of them. And majority of them are specifically tailored to the type of industry that you're in. And then there's other ones that are just very generic and just to lock down maybe a smaller company of maybe 10 people or 20 people, 50 people, something like that. So there's a lot out there that could just help prevent 80% of attacks, which is huge.
One of the big frameworks that we have been working with our clients is CMMC. And that's becoming really, really big. Talk about CMMC, who needs to be following that framework, how it evolved, and where things are with that.
Yeah, so essentially CMMC is used for partner, like governmental partners. Big example
for the Department of Defense.
Yeah, Department of Defense. That's a big example. So those are strictly regulated, and you need to follow those things to a T. Without following those things to a T, your company can't run. I mean, a lot of these companies in that industry need to follow this, or else they don't even get a contract. They can't survive.
Yeah.
So this is something that we need to, as a company, learn and stay on top of, because they come to people like us to help implement this thing. And it not only is it used for governmental, even for insurances nowadays. That some insurances require you to follow these things to a T as well. So it's grown into a more important thing, even though this whole industry doesn't have a perfect grasp on all this cybersecurity stuff, because it's always evolving. But it's becoming something so important nowadays that even the government takes it extremely seriously.
Yes, they do. So we selected CIS as the framework that we're going to implement internally. So we're basically eating our own dog food. I think that's the saying. We've implemented CMMC at 2 other clients. We've worked with our clients in healthcare for HIPAA compliance and those frameworks. We've done PCI for all of our clients that are basically taking and utilizing credit card payment methods. So why did we pick CIS? How is it going? And what does that project look like?
So the main reason I believe that we picked CIS, because just like all the other ones where they're specific to a certain industry, CIS uses bits and pieces from every single industry. And us as an MSP, we put our hands into every single industry, it seems like. So So for us to follow this guideline, which is, I don't want to say it's a basic guideline, because it's not, but it gives you the fundamental aspects that you need to lock down, security for a company, which is, something that kind of fits us perfectly. We started to look into what we already have implemented before we even took on CIS as a framework. Majority of the time, you're as a company that just does basic security, you'll fill out maybe a third of this instantly, which is a little, we're a little bit more in depth than that, but basically if you're just implementing basic security, that's where you will be. We are actually about to finish our first control, which for CIS there's 18 controls, so 18 main points that you need to hit. And then inside those controls, there are range between 5 to maybe even 7, 10 kind of like subpoints, which are called safeguards. So we're about to finish our first one, which is great, and start on our second one. It's just, the thing is just, it's a very lengthy process, because there's, with 153 of these safeguards, it's not easy to do in one day. And not only that, you have to physically implement this, so to speak, with tools and whatnot. It's also wise to set up documentation for this, so you know what you're doing, the company, has a guideline to be like, hey, if we need to implement this here, this is how you do it. This is what's going on. And then, the thing is that it's never ending. So there's always to be constant updates to this.
Yes.
So in that aspect, it's going very well. Wish we could do it quicker. So does everyone, right? But, it's just one of those things that it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. We kicked this off, I think, last month. My goal was to have full compliance by October. I think you laughed at me, and I said we can move that target a little bit, but we're making progress. And the one thing that I remember that I learned from that conference is it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And that as long as you're more secure today than you were yesterday, and you're consistently making progress, that's what counts. And I think you're heading that, you're spearheading that pretty well. You're getting all the players within our organization to assist you, because it's not a one-man job. No. The entire organization needs to accept it. You need user acceptance throughout the organization, and this is with any framework, really. Yeah, or any deployment of new software, anything. And then once you have that, it has to be it just cannot be something you put on a shelf. It has to be live. It has to be alive. It has to be breathing, and something that we all do. So last week, I'll share a funny little story. We're finishing this first control, and one of them is computer management and stuff like that. And I was the one person, I guess, who did not register my machine, and I went to Blazej and said, well, the hell with you, Blazej. I'm the owner. I should be able to do what I want. And he said, no, that's not the way this works. So, he, in many aspects, the person who's doing the implementation, whether it be us from an external perspective for our clients, or an internal person like Blazej, you sometimes have to strong arm someone. And he pestered, and finally I did my job, and now we can put a checkbox that everyone's got that all registered. So,
yeah, to touch on that point, when we were at that conference, one of the guys there, extremely smart dude. He can recite you any single point in the CIS framework by heart. It's wild. But he was talking about how he had a company and he acquired another company, and it only took one person in that company that he acquired to not do something correctly, and it took both of his companies. And it was just sad that he built up, such a great foundation, and then it just came crumbling down just because of one single person.
Yeah, right.
It's that important to kind of take a look at this and put this stuff in place.
It's the one weak link that will take the whole organization down, which is that's just the nature of it.
Right.
So I'll wrap this up, at least the cybersecurity framework. So thanks, Blazej, on this part. If you guys out there have any questions about frameworks, regulatory compliance, anything like that from a cybersecurity perspective, please reach out to Blazej or myself. We have a whole team behind us. It's just not us, so we can help you with any kind of request or answer any kind of questions that you guys may have. So, Blazej, I asked everyone who joins this our little video podcast, whatever the heck you want to call this stuff. I'm still learning, right? Share something cool about tech that is outside what we've been talking about. This is your time to get up on that soapbox and preach or do whatever you want. So, thoughts on something cool from a tech perspective?
So, I came across something that kind of blew my mind, and I still can't grasp it. And it sounds like something that Avengers would create, like Tony Stark or something. But they're coming out with something called quantum computing.
Okay.
So what it is it uses subatomic particles to create new ways of processing information and storing information. Exactly, right?
Okay.
So what
high level stuff. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
So what happens with this stuff is that a super cold environment is created, cooling down the liquids to or true zero, I should say, and this allows the particles to move without resistance. So when that happens, when that process happens, it's called qubits, which is, I don't know, it's just a funny name that they came out with. But when that is created and they shoot microwaves at this, it allows them to control the subatomic particles and allows the data to be stored in like multidimensional spaces. So it's hard to kind of fathom this stuff, but with multiple of these qubits, it allows data to be processed so quickly that it's even about 1 trillion times quicker than what we can do right now. So this is all in the works. God knows when it's going to come out, but when it does, it's it's not only gonna, just make everything quicker, store more space, but it's kind of going to blow up the entire tech industry because there's no security in place for it either. So if this can crack a let's say 1 million character password within seconds, what is going to stop this thing? So it's one of those things that it's going to be further down the line, but it's crazy that they're even thinking about it, and they're actually slightly starting to implement this. I think I read an article that Rolls-Royce, they're big into aviation, and they're using it somehow to process fuel or some sort of fluid inside the engine. It's some crazy stuff. So.
Well, you just took the fun part of tech and you blew my mind, so thank you. That's pretty interesting stuff. So I will be Googling this afterwards so I can get a better understanding of it, because you kind of went over my head, but I appreciate that though. So we got to be always learning. So Blazej, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully this was exciting and fun, and thank you for joining us. So
thank you for having me here.
Yeah. So everyone, Blazej is always the guy who tells me, make sure you like, subscribe, and share out. We appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.